This episode is made possible by New Masters Academy, the world's absolute #1 online art school in the entire world. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. I am deep in your mind. I am deep in your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Acid After Hours podcast. We're your host, I'm Vincent, a background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about entertainment is changing too fast. Hollywood can't keep up.
But before we get into it, make sure to touch, jingle, press all our bells and buttons.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. It is getting colder.
Yes, it actually is.
And the nights are getting longer.
Sadly.
Yeah, so cozy up to your favorite lover. Mm-hmm.
Melancholy season.
But
you're happy because you're listening to this podcast on this Monday morning.
Beautiful Monday morning. Is it Halloween?
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know what
Happy
day
Halloween
it
if
is
it's Halloween. Okay, so like most of these podcasts, let's start off with a story about the movies that we've been watching. Yes.
Yes.
So recently, we've seen 2 movies. The first one is Mr. Denis Villeneuve's Dune, and the second one is Mr. Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho.
Yes.
So we watched Dune in an IMAX screen.
Yes.
As you should, and if you don't, you suck. Like, it's just... I mean, like, you know... That's how you're supposed to watch Dune.
Yes.
That's like the optimum way to watch Dune.
Like, you can watch it on your TV or your phone or your iPad on HBO Max.
But you're kind of basic if you do that.
Yes.
If you want to get on our level, you watch in the biggest screen possible.
Uh-huh.
And it was fine.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, it was all right.
We have watched 2 movies prior to this movie in preparation
for Dune. So we watched David Lynch's Dune first.
Yes.
Then we watched the documentary Jurowski's Dune, which was also really awesome.
Interesting, yeah.
Very, very interesting. And then we watched Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
And yeah, my opinion on it is that it was fine. I am one of those people that doesn't David Lynch's Dune have like a cult following?
Yes.
Yeah, I am actually have never really been a huge David Lynch fan. I've watched his movies fairly recently. Got introduced to him, and especially because if you're kind of a basic movie watcher like I was, probably still am, his movies are hard to get into. They're not like mainstream. They're kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I left learning about David Lynch and watching his movies till I was a little bit more experienced with watching movies.
And after you've been watching movies, I showed you Mulholland Drive. Mm-hmm. I think we watched Eraserhead. Mm-hmm. What else did we watch? We watched something else.
Blue Velvet.
Oh yes, Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Blue Velvet. Mommy.
You really tried to get me to watch Elephant Man, I think.
Yeah. We just haven't gotten to it yet. But then we saw Dune in preparation for Dune. Mm-hmm. But what was interesting was like this is, I think, Lynch's only Hollywood movie.
Yeah,
Hollywood big
blockbuster
blockbuster movie. Elephant Man was Oscar bait, but this is like real him working with a big budget. Mm-hmm. And it's very him.
Yes.
It belongs in his, you know.
Yeah.
He's like it's his movie. Mm-hmm. But it's Dune.
Yeah. Which
I'm sure a lot of like diehard Dune fans who are fans of the novel probably get turned off by that.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember thinking this is not as bad as it has gone down in history as being bad. As a royal up. That even he feels is not truly his vision anyways, which I can see, like, it's like half his movie.
Oh yeah, he was talking about Final Cut.
Yeah. This is why he is one of those directors that in a contract he has to have Final Cut no matter what. And it seems
he has a whole rant on this on YouTube. Watch it, check that out.
He even talks about it in his masterclass.
Yeah.
A little bit. He doesn't explain why though. And like a lot of directors seem to have varying opinions. The ones that have been screwed over by Hollywood and producers, and God knows who put their grubby fingers on some poor director's vision, and they usually have this opinion of like, I need final cut. Like if you don't have it, it's like,
why even make the art?
Why even make Dune?
Uh-huh.
So for me, I appreciated all the parts that were very Lynchian in Dune, and I can see all the parts where that was probably a money choice. Let's just call it that.
A budget choice, or a length,
or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the original Lynch Dune as the way like a lot of other people hate it. I think it's all right. I thought in a way it's kind of, its campiness and its weirdness is like kind of fun.
Memorable.
Yeah.
Makes it memorable.
Yeah.
And then we watch Jodorowsky's Dune.
Yeah, which I love that documentary. I absolutely love that documentary because Jodorowsky is like such a character and really, really passionate in what, like, he is passionate the same way I am passionate about how I wish people in Hollywood gave that many shits about the art that they make. Except now it's probably always has been just like, it's a machine, a business machine where you make money off of entertainment, like it is what it is. But like, I always went into this business knowing or expecting that there will be people like Jodorowsky who share this, like, you work within the system as best as you can to make the art that you want to make. Sadly, I have come to realize and the reason why I left Disney is like people like Jodorowsky is very rare in Hollywood. So just watching the movie just made me like, a like-minded soul who like cares this much about art and the thing that they make.
The most important part of the documentary was the team that Jodorowsky created. He called them like, knights or soldiers, right?
His warriors.
Yeah. He needed them not to just be like artists or whatever. He needed them to be warriors.
They're my spiritual warriors, is what he would call it.
Is what he said. And like ultimately, Jodorowsky's vision for Dune was supposed to be this, because like, if you've read Dune, if you've watched Dune, this whole thing with spice, right? It's the most desired commodity in this world. Mm-hmm. And the craziest part about it is that it's kind of a hallucinogen.
Yes.
And certain directors, especially Jodorowsky, really dug that idea of like Dune kind of needs to be kind of like a little bit of an LSD trip.
Yes.
So he created this bombastic 15-hour version of Dune with Mick Jagger and the music done by
Dali.
And the music done by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Just
literally the great artist Dali,
and he found Dali was supposed to be in it, and he found Geiger. He employed Geiger, but when Geiger was kind of just like a nobody at the time. And then ultimately this grand, huge vision was like just impossible to make. And, kaput went Jodorowsky's Dune, but his team went on to Geiger went on to make Alien. And all of these people went on to make crazy things because they were like surrounded by the best of the best at the time.
Jodorowsky is like, in my opinion, probably one of the best director producers ever, because I was like, the way he talks about assembling his team, that's very difficult. Like, if you've ever hired before or tried to work with someone else and like you're the boss hiring people, it is very, very difficult to find like-minded people on your level, like not only like as talented, as passionate, as weird, as share your same whatever vision for whatever you want to make. That's incredibly difficult. The fact that he was able to assemble, he found Geiger. The character designer was Mobius.
Oh yes,
he found
the storyboard artist. Was Mobius, right?
But he also did characters too. And I was like, that's crazy. He kind of discovered Mobius through like a pen name. the story of how he somehow convinced Mobius to do work for him too was like crazy. Like to see photos of all these great artists working together and being convinced by this one kind of weird man, but like very passionate. Like that's one thing I really love in like a boss, is just like he like knows how to rally the troops. He really is like, yo, this is gonna be the greatest movie ever.
And every time they said like, things were getting tough and hard with the workload and trying to imagine this world, like Hodorowski would be like everyone's cheerleader.
Yeah.
Always motivating.
You can do it.
You can do it.
We're
going to change the world with this movie.
Yeah.
That's what he would tell them.
Like
we're going to
every
change
day.
the fucking world with this movie,
Yeah.
man.
And I feel like, I mean, some of it probably is just,
Hype.
hype.
It's hype.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on.
hype. It is. But like you have to have some level of that kind of crazy in order to like really motivate people.
Yeah.
Like that's why everyone loves watching sports movies. That's why I like watching sports movies.
It's all about the coach.
It's all about the coach and that like that one inspirational like speech they give right before
they win or lose.
Yeah. And like I've even noticed that about like Mr. Beast. He says he does that. Like when he's about to film a video, he like, this is gonna be the biggest video ever. We're gonna be we're gonna be the greatest. Like he said that even when he was small and he was a nobody, he knew that, and he would say it, and everyone would be like, bullshit. You're I'm just editing for you dumb YouTube channel. But then like he would eventually become Mr. Beast, and I'm like, I think there's a similarity here. All these great people who care this much about their art, there's a little bit of crazy where you're like, yeah, this is gonna be the best thing ever. You have to believe it before you make it.
Right.
If you don't, then like
why is it worth making?
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
Yeah.
So it's like we talk shit about Hollywood all the time.
yes.
But like we can't overemphasize how legendary Dune is
Yes.
to Hollywood. It's like kind of like this tragic, legendary thing that never really came to be until now. Until Denis Villeneuve, director of The Arrival, Blade Runner, but our favorites, Prisoners, Sicario.
Yes.
It's kind of his turn. And then when you heard that Denis was directing this, what did you think? Your immediate first thoughts?
I hope it's not like too serious.
Yeah.
Like too all about the visuals, because like my biggest critique for Denis is more recent movies. We kind of discovered him before, I guess, when Hollywood types discovered him, but everyone kind of knew who he was, with Blade Runner and Arrival and that kind of stuff. But like my favorite movie was like Prisoners. And then Sicario, and then we're like, oh my god, who is this guy? And then like that's kind of when Hollywood's like, okay, we need this guy for like Arrival and like Blade Runner, that kind of stuff. But like I noticed that whenever he's very like down to earth, he seems to love like the villains of his stories more than he loves like the good character. The villains are always the most interesting character.
That's right, even in Prisoners and Sicario.
But like with Arrival, and that was actually the first movie that I was very lukewarm about, even though it got a lot of like Oscar praise.
I think we watched it I think after work one time, and I was falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's not like it was not good for me. Maybe I was like really tired, but like, man, it was hard. Like I think there's this long sequence when we're like the camera's going under the ship, and there's like a ladder or something that they can go up to, and I was like thinking like, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
I understand they're gonna go up and under, under from the thing. Like I get it. Can we cut to them like in the thing now?
Yeah. And like eventually, once I like had time to like process the movie, I appreciate the message and like the attempt, this really heady attempt. What the movie is about is you're experiencing time all at once,
and language
exactly the way Amy Adams does, which it's a very difficult, heady concept to comprehend or even to film. So I appreciate the effort, but like as far as enjoyment, how much I liked, how much I got out of the movie, I was like, eh. And then I saw Blade Runner and I was like, eh. because like it's beautiful. All these movies are beautiful, and like with Blade Runner, the production design, again, like in the last podcast I talked about how like, yeah, I like production design, I guess. But like at the end of the day, for like a commercial movie, I could care less about world building. I care more about the story at the end of the day. So with Blade Runner, I was like, it's fine movie, it's beautiful, whatever. And I was worried that this movie was going to be the same kind of deal.
And then we kept driving. We drove, and then I was like, "Come on, I'm going to give this movie the best possible chance to wow me. I'm like going to open myself up to this movie. I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm just a blank slate. You know, I have my preconceived notions about Denis and Timothée Chalamet and all these things, but like I'm just going to give it like its best chance to wow me." And I was like, "Aren't you going to try to do that?"
And I was like, "No." I'm going to keep my expectations where I think they should be.
Okay.
And we dragged some of our friends to go see. And your brother, which is a Zoomer. And I was really, like, these people, in my opinion, are as normie as you can get. Actually, a little bit above normie. My friends are the, like, super normies. Your friends have a little bit more culture in them.
We were raised here.
Yeah. And so I was very curious to see their reaction, because I don't care about your opinion, my opinion, other hoity-toity Hollywood types, our friends.
The average person.
Yeah, I care about
what is their opinion.
Yeah. And I really wanted to see how much they gave about this movie. First of all, they didn't really wanted to go watch this movie with us. They just wanted to hang out with us, I guess. And so we went and watched the movie, and the first thing that I noticed about the crowd was that they're a bunch of millennials and up in terms of age, like boomers. What the internet would call as boomers. We were all boomers.
It was the same audience as No Time to Die.
Yes.
The same exact one.
Which we said in a previous episode. Boomers. Like, there were no Gen Z.
Millennials, Gen X, boomers.
Yeah.
There. Just like, that's the kind. Not a single young person in sight.
No.
Nope. And we watched the movie and it was fine. It was exactly the same reaction I felt about The Arrival and Blade Runner. I'm just like, oh, that was really pretty. And like, you know, like the first time you see the worms, breathtaking, amazing. Yeah. Stunning, magnificent, fabulous
production design,
absolutely amazing. But then, like, we were talking about it, about like our feelings towards it, and why we were so lukewarm about it, and we were like, you know what, the production design is beautiful and all this stuff, but it's stark. Yeah, it's like it's kind of not fun. Yeah, and like I was like. There was that ship in the beginning of the movie that kind of just looks like a gigantic circle. Yeah. And my problem with it just looks like a big circle.
Yeah. It's like a beautiful
silhouette,
smooth shape.
But it's nothing just memorable about it.
Yeah. A circle if you just pinch the side.
The tanks are just like these squares.
Tanks, yeah.
And, you know, the helicopters were kind of cool, but they were like dragonfly helicopters. Cool.
Well, like the only remotely interesting design. In my opinion, but like, yeah, it was very like boring and like industrial, like, you know, the language that it, like if you just go to Art Center, you'll know what I'm talking about.
People don't know what that means.
Basically, we who have graduated from Art Center has dictated all of your sci-fi video games and movies for the past like decade or so.
It sounds really obnoxious,
but it's true. Like Sid Mead, like, come on, like, so all of us we graduate with a certain language in us, so how we want to tell, like, design sci-fi, and it's this super industrial modern thing, like everything you've seen, Prometheus, everything you've seen in like all the sci-fi, like it's like somewhere in between like Star Wars and just like industrial everything, and it's very utilitarian, it's very gray, it's very boxy. It is what it is.
But when Jodorowsky was showing his sketches for what the ships were looking like, that's out there, man. Yeah, that's pretty memorable. Now, I'm not saying that like it should be like out there, but at the end of the day, we were thinking like, man, if Hollywood like made Jodorowsky's Dune, Denis Dune, and Lynch's Dune, and they all had like a baby, I think that would be the perfect version of Dune.
Yeah, I actually think so. So like I feel like this version of Dune, they were trying to like ground it in some kind of reality and realism, whereas like Jodorowsky's Dune and Lynch's Dune is pretty out there. And you know, I really appreciated actually after the fact, after seeing all 3 Dune movies, I really appreciated Jodorowsky's vision for it, because what Spice is, yes, it's like some really loosely veiled allegory for oil and how people have conquered basically the Middle East for like centuries and still do, but it also is about LSD. It was written in that time, and it is about this hallucinogen and control of the mind and all those things. And
Denny does do like a job of like kind of showing Paul hallucinate, because he's super sensitive to this stuff, of like kind of like suddenly, you know, the camera's like super like blurry and stuff, and there's like bokeh everywhere, and he's like suddenly like seeing these visions that are very picturesque, and like they're flashing, and like they're like in slow-mo and all this stuff. But it's sort of like, yeah, I mean,
it's an unexpected way of seeing being on an LSD trip.
Like you couldn't, yeah, I mean, I feel like, come on,
like if you're
you've
gonna
done
trip,
drugs,
then
like
I don't know if he has.
But, I mean, like, you gotta make it look a little more
like trippy.
Yeah.
You're hallucinating.
A little bit more like the end of 2001 or something, like something like wild, like something interesting. I was just like, oh well, that's it. That's fine, I guess.
That's the main thing I was missing, because like the one shining thing about like Lynch's Dune is that he tried really hard with that aspect of it. Like he's all about transcendental meditation and like the donut. So like it felt like that's why Hollywood understands that
fear is the mind killer.
Yeah, fear is the mind killer.
That's what he's about. Yeah, for sure.
Basically talking about if you're having a bad trip, fear is the mind killer. And it just felt so like it's very safe. This Dune's very safe. But long story short, no Zoomers were in there. Same with No Time to Die. And then we went to watch Last Night in Soho.
Yes. Edgar Wright's new movie.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I was telling you, it was the most fun I've had in the theater all year.
Yeah.
So if you want to have fun at the movie theater, it's not the Marvel movies.
Yes.
It's not the MGM movies. It's not, you know, even the Warner Brother movie.
Yeah.
It's this one.
Yeah.
It's this Edgar Wright one. That is like, I don't know. I had a really good time with the murder mystery and the fashion and just like the twists and turns, you know?
Yeah. I appreciated how it is both very entertaining in like a blockbuster commercial way, while also like if you're a film nerd, you'll probably see a lot of different references to different horror movies and different
lots of Hitchcock,
lots of Shining, lots of and it's just fun. And like it's a feast for the eyes, and it's a very decent movie. I agree more with the Rotten Tomatoes critic score than I do with the audience score, actually. I mean, I don't know what it is though. It's not like I have a problem with it. It just was like, oh, I feel like Edgar Wright's other movies are better. Yeah. But like, you know, it's I'm serious. I had a really good time. Yeah, it was fun
at the movies.
It's a very, in my opinion, C+ movie.
For like me, B-.
Yeah.
Like I'd say B-.
I have been listening to Dear Reader. I have been listening to Dear Reader, the unauthorized biography of Kim Jong-il. As told to Michael Malice, it is 100% true and authentic, according to, you know, the people who told this to Michael Malice. And if you want to listen to this amazing mythical story, head over to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast, where you will get a free Audible trial subscription and one free audiobook. That's audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast.
But again, no Zoomers.
No Zoomers.
No Zoomers. So I want to tell the story about how we watched Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
So I was looking through the showtimes. We were gonna try and watch this movie at the New Beverly to see it in 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
Which would have been amazing.
Yes, but a bunch of sweatier nerds than us were already there an hour before.
Yeah, like so in the website they said like, okay, if we don't have any tickets available online, you'll be able to buy tickets in line and physically in line. And we open an hour before the showtime, so we get there and it's like, you know, what you call it, a free-for-all, first come, first serve.
Yeah.
So we go, and I'm like, okay, there's an ass ton of traffic, but we're going to leave 2 hours before, and we get there an hour later. And there is a long line, like a line that is like, I've watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood there, like, that line was capacity.
Yes.
Like, already. I could see it. I was like, oh, we're not going to be able to make it. And if there's especially people like online who have tickets online, we're screwed.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to the Glendale Americana, which is sort of like if you would imagine your average mall.
Outdoor mall, yeah.
Yeah, outdoor mall. So we go there and we're like, oh, this is where all the young people hang out. Like, where are all the young people?
Yeah.
And the young people were out.
Yeah.
On a Friday night, and this was a
Yes.
Friday night. We're like, oh man,
Wow.
what? Look
Young
at all
people.
of you.
I haven't seen you in like ages.
Yeah.
Look like vampires.
Yeah, seriously. Get some sun.
You glow in the dark.
Yeah, oh my god. It's a radiation. But then I was like, this is amazing. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're actually wrong. Maybe like we're full of shit. And like there are kids just like happy to go outside on a Friday, just this random Friday night. I wonder what they're doing. And then we go to the theater, and then we see that there are 4 showings for the new My Hero Academia movie.
Yes.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why.
There's like a bunch of different subs and a dub.
And a dub.
Yeah.
And then like flock of young people.
Yes.
Young people.
Like I've never seen that many young people in a theater since like
Since I've been watching
2019.
movies. Oh, since the last time we saw Mugen Train.
Yes.
You know?
Actually, yes.
That was the last time I saw that amount of young people. And I was like, whoa, dude. Wait, there's a, like, and I remember looking at the showtimes for this and thinking like, oh, there's a My Hero movie? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I wasn't served this by the internet or a billboard or
Yeah.
anything. How, like, I didn't really care much about it, but when I saw it, and I saw the showtimes, and I saw all the cool f***ing kids watching the cool f***ing movie, and my old ass is watching an auteur movie,
Yeah.
I was like, I've become old.
Yeah.
I've become an old fucking fuck. Like, I'm what the fuck?
I felt the exact same way. I was griping to you about like it disturbs me that I have not seen young people out and about doing anything really. Like we talked about how
What are you doing in the comment? Like seriously, because it's like, you know, what do you say about 15-year-olds?
they are the ones that define culture.
Yes.
What is cool.
Yes. So like we don't see you anymore,
Yeah.
and it makes it difficult as creative people and you know, just entertainer or whatever to like cater to people if we don't know what the fuck you are on about.
Even in like 2019, we still like knew where you guys were. You know what I mean? We still
Went to conventions and
yeah,
stuff.
we went to conventions. We were in
were on
the
TikTok.
know. We were on
Yeah.
TikTok before it was cool for millennial boomers to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
And so I was still very aware of like what was cool, what was in, what are the kids doing. But then the past 2 years, I've been very like out of the loop with a lot of things, and I'm like, where are you hanging out? I don't see you anywhere. I don't see you at the malls. I don't see like, what are you doing?
I don't know what the fashion is.
Yeah.
So imagine if you're like a character designer, like what the
Yeah.
well, what are the
What are
youth
people
into?
wearing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've recently discovered basically the 90s plus the 60s have come back, and it's just weird. But
Bell bottoms.
hey, I'm here for it. So it was very shocking to me to go to the Americana and to see like young people just hanging out. Still less young people than normal.
Average. Yes.
Then like yeah, but so I still don't know where all of you guys are hanging out, but you're there. You're all trying to get with each other, trying to get the poon, basically. And then we go in the theater, and I was like, wow,
Wait.
there are an awful lot of young people here, and there are an awful lot of showings of My Hero. And look, guess what? There's no one watching Soho. There's no one watching Dune. They're all going to watch My Hero. And I was like, wow, would you look at that as shocking. That was, I am old.
I'm excited to see what the box office numbers look like for My Hero Man.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, what if it outperforms Dune? Like, what
That's
if...
so crazy.
That would be insane. That,
Even-
like it's like... I have no idea. Like, Monday is like a couple days from now. But, like, imagine if that does... Like...
Then
Dune
it would be a trend.
Then it'd be a trend.
Because
of,
Demon Slayer did so well.
Right.
So all these fluff articles that I keep seeing about, and all the boomers on Twitter talking about Dune, I'm like, man, you're not cool. Because like all the kids are watching My Hero. The kids do not care. They do not know what Dune is. Like everyone, so again, our friends' reaction to it is like boring. Like they're just like, it's alright, I guess.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm gonna go home and watch My Hero. And I just thought, like, that's so crazy, and the craziest part is not the fact that like we're not interested or we kind of completely dismissed it or whatever. It was the fact that I didn't even know.
Yeah, man.
I didn't even know that a
even
My Hero
know.
movie was coming out. I didn't see an ad for it. I didn't see whatever. But the fact that all the kids came out for it, how did they know? What
Yeah,
are they
man.
watching that I am not watching? That they were they knew that this was coming out.
And I was telling you, it must be Funimation or Crunchyroll or whatever advertising the movie to all the people who are watching My Hero. And guess what? These motherfuckers will go out and see this thing in theaters, man.
Yeah.
Anime weebs are hardcore, man.
I have never seen the amount of enthusiasm in the past 2 years.
Yes.
Except for in this movie. Like, people are not that enthusiastic about Star Wars or Marvel anymore. When I see them go into the...
It feels obligatory.
Yeah, it feels like, another
that's
one.
yeah, might as well.
But how excited they were to go in and watch My Hero. I was like, this is interesting.
This is crazy.
This is like, and we had this whole discussion after the fact, after we watched Soho, about how much we loved it and like all the different references to other movies that we saw, and we're like, oh, what? We're in this, like, because we had such a good time. This always happens. Every time we have a good time watching movies, we're like, oh, I want to watch another one. Is there any other Oscar bait movies coming out? Because this is the season for that. And we were like pontificating about this movie and that movie and this director, and having this really hoity-toity old person conversation about, ooh, who's going to win?
Belfast.
Yeah, Belfast. That looks great. I didn't know Judi Dench was in it. Who was she?
Did you see Kristen Stewart's gonna be
Princess
Diana? Amazing.
Or like, oh, Lady Gaga's in Hasaguchi, and
Man, I really love Ridley Scott.
Yeah. And then I was like, literally none of this matters. We have become the old people who talk about this stuff. Meanwhile, all the kids, it doesn't matter what you think about My Hero and anime and all that stuff. That is what's cool. It doesn't matter. Like, when has the Oscar movies been cool except for like the past recent few years? Now what's cool has changed, and it's anime. And even if it never wins any awards, even if Hollywood continues to shit on it, that's what is making money. That's what the kids want to see. And the fact, like, this My Hero movie doesn't have to make as much money as whatever new Disney movie's coming out, whatever Dune made, you know. But what if it does? What does that say? Like, it doesn't even have, like, it has probably less than half the budget to have made that movie. And if it makes even remotely close to the amount of money Dune has made, that's insane.
That's insane. And like we said, like, Dune is a legend. Like you see on Twitter, all of the people who are not even our age, like older than us, are like raving about it.
Yeah. And I'm like, none of the 15-year-olds that actually make things cool, that actually, like, the 15-year-olds are basically the ones that made TikTok a thing. Like, if they are the ones that dictate culture, like us boomers who are talking about Dune on Twitter, like, none of that matters. Like, as much as it probably hurts Denis Villeneuve's soul that, like, people are watching My Hero over Dune, like, it is what it is, though.
Imagine that, though. Oh my god.
Yeah. I know. It's like, we're here. We have
here.
arrived.
Man, all those times I've had portfolio reviews of people shitting on anime, man. Whoo! I remember
when literally everyone at Disney would shit on anime. And if you drew like anime,
they wouldn't hire you. They prefer the person who draws,
they would
like
shit on you.
Yeah.
They would actively shit on you if like, oh,
what's that Astro Boy?
Yeah, like, come on, draw like Disney princesses or whatever, or family. Like you have like the adult cartoon style, and then you have the Disney style, and that's basically it. If you don't draw like that, then good luck. And those comic books, I guess. But us anime dorks, I got told so many times to stop drawing like anime, and I'm like, I have no idea what you mean. I'm trying so hard to get rid of my anime influences. I'm trying so hard for you just to get hired.
Your eyes are too big.
I'm like, God, I don't know what you mean. This is just how I draw eyes. I grew up with anime.
Literally, that's a critique.
Yeah.
When you would go to CTN, your eyes are too big.
I would tell you, and you'd be like, God, that's such a stupid. Like,
who gives
a cares?
Yeah.
You're drawing storyboards. And yeah, they're never gonna see your drawings anyways. This is just to tell the story, the comic book panels. Like, why do you care about the style in which I draw? And yeah, now we are here where Disney is making anime. If you haven't heard, Disney Plus is making anime. And I'm not saying the Disney animation studios in the US are making anime. I'm saying they are commissioning Japanese studios in Japan to make Disney anime for Disney. And when I heard about this, I was like, this is amazing. Disney is so greedy and so smart.
Explain why they're so greedy and smart.
They want to make money, and all the kids are getting Netflix and Crunchyroll because of anime. Because
hey, don't forget about Funimation, man.
And Funimation, and so Netflix was smart in that they're not making anime either. They're also doing the same thing.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
giving Japanese animation studios money to make a Netflix original anime, and they're producing it and everything. They're not hiring people here, and Netflix has an animation studio. They're not making anime here. And
also, I want to comment that it looks amazing.
Yeah,
it's we were always saying. I remember we talked about this in our Valentine's getaway. I don't know, it was a long time ago that man, I would love to see anime with an unlimited budget, man. What would that actually look like? And then we're seeing it. Yeah. So it's not like we're saying it's bad, but look at where the priorities are, is what we're saying.
Yeah. And one, it made me think oh, that's really interesting, because I guarantee you, I've talked about this before. My thesis in school was that the thing that's wrong about Western cartoons is that everyone thinks that they're for kids. Whereas in Asia, cartoons, especially in Japan, they're for everyone. There's seinen anime, there's josei anime, there's shonen, there's shoujo. There's something for everyone. There's horror, there's whatever. But cartoons, for some reason, is relegated to oh, that's just that kiddie stuff that kids
13 and
kids
under,
watch. So for me, and I guarantee you, many people before me have always been why can't Western animation be the same way? Why can't we change the fact that cartoons are viewed as just for kids, as a kiddie thing? And maybe we can tell more interesting, deeper stories with pictures. What if? Just like anime. But the reason, now I know my flaw, and everyone's flaw in thinking that. The reason why Western animation will never do that is exactly what Disney is doing. Why would we do it when the Japanese can just make it so much better than us? Why can't we just hire them and just produce it, and they make it? We just give them money, they make it, they have that headache, and then we just distribute it. And then I was just it's smart. You go where the money is, and if all the kids want anime, then let's make anime. Not that I think it's gonna do well. It's weird. It's this Disney anime where it's all Disney villains and they're all hot Bishonen men, and I was I guess I don't know who's gonna watch this, but I guess. And I thought that's really sucks for the people. My past friends I don't know what my coworkers, whatever, they sucks for them, because like clearly Disney's priorities and like the whole entire industry that is animation's priority is not on them. It does not matter that you make TV shows here in LA. It doesn't matter that you work on some feature animation that nobody's gonna watch, because the kids are watching anime, and even Disney and Netflix are putting money at there, and they're not hiring you to make that. Like, I wish people would get that through their heads. They're not hiring you to do that. You know?
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, our friend, like, they're talented.
Yeah.
Certainly they can do something really well. I mean, not exactly like anime, but like, I don't know, something kind of like it. I don't know what it could be.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do that. So.
Yeah. They're not going to hire you to make anime, as much as I would love for that to happen. Like, there's just not gonna. And I thought that was really interesting, but also like, so Squid Game came out recently.
Cultural phenomenon that is Squid Game.
Yes. And there's a lot of similarities between the way I discovered Squid Game and the way we discovered people were watching the My Hero movie. And it's that we also were not in the loop with Squid Game until recently, until everyone started talking about it, and then it quickly got overrated real fast, and then now we're like so late to the party. But the fact that like before, when we were younger, we were the ones that knew, like, oh, Hunger Games is the next thing, or Twilight is the next, or whatever. We knew what was coming up, and the adults were the ones who had to learn about it in the news. We are now the adults that are like, what's Squid Game? While everyone's like, oh my god, Squid Game. And I was just like, I am old. But also, like, it's one of those phenomenons where, like, again, just like My Hero, where were the advertisements? How were people supposed to find out about this? How did people find out about this? And why didn't I? Why didn't I see billboards? Why didn't I see any of this? And the fact that they didn't need that. They didn't need any of that, and they still blew up. Both these properties are like that. They didn't need like any marketing budget, basically. And both of them are not American.
Yep.
Squid Game is Korean, and My Hero is Japanese.
So the biggest stuff that's entertaining the youths are imports.
Yeah. And that, like, if you are not from Hollywood, if you have never worked in entertainment, that's a big deal. Because we, in America, in Hollywood specifically, have always been used to being the top leading dog that exported our culture to the rest of the world. That's why
it doesn't go the other way around.
Yeah, never. People would like, the people who watched world cinema were freaks, were like weirdos. Yeah. And, you know, technically, if you did watch world cinema, you'd probably know where all these new directors are getting their stuff. But like, we have always been looked at as like, I want to go to LA so I can make movies. Legitimate movies that will actually be seen by people. Meanwhile, in 2021, no one cares about the Hollywood stuff. They're watching the Japanese, the Korean, the wherever. And that's really exciting, actually, because like that means that any one of you listening to this, anyone who wants to make movies, make TV shows, make art, any kind of whatever, you don't need to come here. You don't need to be a United States citizen. You don't need to give up all, like, do so much just to go through the Hollywood gatekeepers to make the next Squid Game. You could do it wherever you're from. You can be in a complete separate country, like Squid Game, like My Hero. Like, imagine the creator of My Hero, like, seeing what we're seeing. In America, people are going to watch My Hero instead of Dune. Like, you really think he thought that would ever happen?
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah.
It's real. It happened in America.
Yeah.
My Hero, your thing, whoever you are, you're probably not watching. You're not watching from Japan.
No.
People are actually, like, young people are watching your movie than Dune.
Instead of Dune.
That's insane. That's insane. That's so blasphemous to say in this town.
Yeah.
But it's insane.
True.
It's true. We saw it. You're
Yeah.
saying we saw it.
Yeah.
Ask your kids. Oh, we're watching the My Hero movie.
Yeah. And that to me is so encouraging, because like literally the average person there's like hope for you. Like you don't have to like somehow fly here. You don't have to anything. You can just make it, and if it's good, people will figure out how to distribute it. How like there are webtoons getting greenlit for like Netflix stuff. Like clearly, if something is popular enough, it does not matter where you're from. It does not matter like anything anymore. You don't have to like go through the publishing houses or whatever. And not only that, I thought about this with Netflix. Netflix was kind of dying before Squid Game. Like they really needed something like Squid Game to happen again, and they were so lucky.
Yeah.
Because what Netflix didn't realize, because everyone thinks, oh, the streaming wars, they're the thing that like is gonna extinguish like normal Hollywood, like the TV, the feature films. Like that's what's giving Hollywood a hard time. But actually, you know what's giving Netflix, all these streaming war stuff, a hard time? The internet. Content creators.
Weirdos like us.
Yeah.
Just making bullshit in their bedrooms.
And
it's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
We're all vying for the same people.
Yeah, the same exact time. Like all these kids, they have so much to choose from now. They can either watch Dune, they can either watch anime on My Hero, or they can watch Netflix, or they can just go on TikTok or in YouTube.
Never have to leave their house.
This is all in the same ecosystem. Like, so all the fluff pieces talking about how Dune, Hollywood is never going to say something did poorly unless it's that obvious. So like when Dune came out, they're like, oh my god, it was like the best WB showing on the opening weekend since the pandemic. Like there's so many asterisks to that statement. It did so well for the pandemic, for WB, for like, no, just say it didn't do well, because it didn't. Okay, like, and for people pretending like the pandemic is like an excuse for a movie doing poorly, we have been traveling and we have been outside trying to find people, and people are out. Okay, like if you look at the internet, it looks like the pandemic is still happening, and maybe for like, I guess technically the pandemic is still happening, but come on, everyone when you are a bunch of hypocrites, because I see all these people outside with no mask or like pretending to care, but like, and then they go on the internet and like, I don't know, virtue signal or something. I'm like, come on, if you've lived life for like you've gone outside in the past month, a lot of things have gone back to normal, and to like pretend all these like writers writing about Dune, like the pandemic has nothing to do with why it didn't do well. Why it didn't do well is because kids are watching My Hero. Okay, we had to drag our friends to watch Dune. Okay, God, all these people.
We felt super FOMO.
Yeah,
with the kids watching the My Hero thing, man. I was like, why are we watching this fucking Edgar Wright movie?
Yeah. We're so old.
We're so old. We should be in there.
Yeah.
What the God. And we're not caught up.
No, like, that's why.
That's why. I didn't even realize there was going to be a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe if I knew in advance somehow.
We would have binged it, and then we would have gone watched it instead of Dune. So that's really optimistic, in my opinion. I think truly this Hollywood can't keep up with how fast things are changing, and how people's priorities and what they want to watch are like, it's changing so fast that it's hard for even us to keep up. Like we didn't know My Hero movie was coming out, but I thought it was really interesting. I noticed a similarity with all the things that people are watching, like Squid Game and My Hero and anime and all that stuff, and it's that people are into some messed up stuff. Like they're into the pervy stuff, they're into the hentais, and they're into the violence and the whatever, and it's similar to how we saw a lot of teenagers outside of the movie theater trying to get the poon. Teenagers are horny.
I mean, the sky is blue.
Yes.
The grass is green.
Yeah.
Ask any parent. I mean, like, this is a fact of life, isn't it?
Yes. But the problem is, in society in 2021, people aren't allowed to, like, say or do anything without potentially getting canceled.
Humiliated online.
Yes. Like, I've recently started looking at TikTok again. I took a really long break from social media, but, like, I started watching TikTok again, and I was like, kids are, like, really, really horny and really kind of fucked up. Like, they say, I don't care what anyone says about Gen Z and what, like, all the weird stuff they do online to, like, all the gender whatever. They are so mean to each other and to everyone else. And they will say, if you go into TikTok, some of those viral videos, you look at the comment section, it's, like, worse than anything I've ever seen on YouTube and Twitter combined. Like, it's so cruel the way they are towards each other, but also, like, how they say some really, like, racist, misogynistic type stuff, and I'm just like, I thought you're better than this, Gen Z, or that's what you want us to believe. But I actually think Gen Z are really repressed. They're turning into what happened to the Japanese where that's why we have, like, octopus porn, like.
I think octopus porn predates hentai, you know, with the paintings. Okay, I
guess.
God,
I mean,
respectful. It's a thing. Respect their thing. Don't shame them for their thing.
But, like, the fact that, like, you're not allowed to do or say or touch or do anything to each other, and everyone's scared to do anything to each other in case your life is over because you said the wrong thing. I think what teenagers really crave is that stuff, though, because they're so repressed. They can't let any of their, like, freak flag fly. So of course they love anime. They can't let their hair
down, you know. Of course they love anime.
Anime was invented for that stuff.
Yes,
for the repressed. Yeah.
It's invented for teenagers.
Yes, and just horny people. And I was like, it's like the horny, it's like the violence. Like, Squid Game apparently is so violent, and it reminds me of Demon Slayer, how, like, violent it gets.
Old Senin.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that, like, most of our entertainment is not serving that, is not giving people exactly what they want. It's like, you know, the thing, like, sex sells in, like, Hollywood entertainment, whatever.
Right.
Hollywood's, like, actively avoiding that because they're so scared of getting canceled for any little thing. That, like, of course the teenagers, when they can't have their weird Twilight fantasies, they're gonna go to anime. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, there's the market for that.
Yeah.
You know, it was always what was it? It was like CW shows and that type of stuff. And then now people are just, youngs are into anime.
Yeah.
And that, like, satisfies their, like, ooh, opie, harem fantasies.
Violence with a story. Like, I think.
And Squid Game, like, we were kind of hesitant in watching it just because we've like seen that concept done so many times.
Yeah.
Like, do you think we haven't heard of Battle Royale?
Yeah.
Like, but, like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure it has its own flavor and its own spin, right? I mean,
yes.
You've heard a lot about it.
I've heard. To me, when I see it as just, like, the Korean version of Battle Royale.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like, with the vengeance and the pettiness, but, like, with Battle Royale themes, it's like.
Oh, like the like the Korean drama themes.
Yes.
With Battle Royale.
Yes.
Gotcha. Dang, that's gonna make for, like, a violent.
Exactly. Yeah, and messed up.
Yeah, messed up. Just like you want to take a shower after kind of movie. Ooh, that's what people are into, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
And to each their own, I guess.
Which is why I feel like my general consensus about that, or just opinion about that, is I think people who are willing to stop censoring themselves and face whatever negative, I don't know, anything about, like, just having the opinions that you have no matter what, I think you're probably going to get rewarded for it. Because the censoring is what's the problem here. It's the fact that Hollywood is censoring themselves so hard, feeling like they need to do so much. When, like, truly, I feel like if Hollywood just went back to their old depraved selves and just being kind of honest about it and making those type of movies, like they know what people want. They like, we know what people like. They like the shocking and the awe and the whatever. Hollywood knows that like sex sells. They know that like violence is fun, but like them pretending like it's not, and it has never been and will never be ever again, because we're so past that, we're so progressive. It's like clearly people still are into that stuff, and if you're not going to do that stuff, other people in other countries are going to
Eat your lunch.
Yeah. So we recommend that you watch Dune, but watch it, like in my opinion, watch it from David Lynch's one first, then watch Jodorowsky's Dune, and then watch Dune. Villeneuve's Dune, because I think that's the only true like how it should be consumed, I guess.
Yeah, I think the Jodorowsky's Dune does a good job of kind of helping us imagine his Dune, even though it's like a big old fantasy.
Yeah,
it never came to fruition. But then I don't know, you'll see that like, man, there are parts of David Lynch's Dune that I like better than Denis Dune.
Yeah, actually.
And we recommend you watch Last Night in Soho.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think Lamb is still my favorite movie of the year.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Which made me go, wow, what if Lamb really is one of those Oscar contenders?
Yeah. What if it? Yeah.
That's so crazy.
You know, Del Toro has one. Ridley Scott has one.
And
but man, I really like that movie too.
Yeah. And I mean, it also looks like Belfast and House of Gucci. There are a lot of different movies that are like vying for a spot, but I so far I like Lamb the most.
Yeah.
Out of everything, which is crazy. This is about Lamb child.
Yeah. Oh, I like that over the Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If you like this episode, make sure to hit like, subscribe, jingle all our bells and buttons. Check out these episodes over here to binge all our other episodes, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.